What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another crazy video of crazy people doing crazy things. But if y'all enjoy this type of content, make sure you share it, like, comment, all that good stuff to help me show more people. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, let's get right into it.
Greater death of all time. This is 30-year-old Sam Weisbrun. And in August 2019, something absolutely terrible happened to him. He was on an elevator, and when it stopped, everyone obviously got off. He was the last one getting off when for some reason the elevator door didn't close, but it still started going down, and all of this happened while Sam was trying to get off the elevator. You see Sam reach out with both of his arms trying to grab onto the walls, but it was no use. Sam's body was then sucked into the elevator between the elevator and the inner wall of the building, where there was virtually no room at all. In the video, you then see Sam completely fold in half. His feet are up by his face and his heels are literally touching his head. You then see Sam's body get crushed up and Sam then continues to get pulled down to his death. Now, luckily you don't see any blood in the video, but it's still one of the more unsettling videos out there. Mainly because if you just put yourself in his shoes for a second, it's absolutely horrifying. His chest was instantly crushed to the point where once it happened, he couldn't breathe at all. We can just hope that he didn't suffer that much and that it was over quickly. May Sam Weisbrun rest in peace, and I can't imagine the fear and confusion he had to be feeling. I don't recommend searching for the video, but if you do, look for it at your own risk.
A child
Man, poor guy.
murdered this drive-thru employee for the craziest reason. A 12-year-old boy from Texas killed a Sonic drive-thru worker during an argument in May 2023. The boy remains anonymous due to his age, but was convicted of murder earlier this month. The victim was 32-year-old Matthew Davis, who was fatally shot by the boy for the most bizarre reason. The confrontation reportedly started due to a man urinating in the car park. The man in question was the 12-year-old's uncle, Angel Gomez. He was confronted by Matthew for his actions and the argument got physical. The 12-year-old then got out of the car and shot multiple times at Matthew. Angel and the nephew fled the scene before returning. They were arrested and Matthew was pronounced dead. Tragically, Matthew had a 10-year-old son who is now left without a father.
Scary facts you never knew, part 11.
Nah, hold up. That's crazy though. So apparently the guy was taking a piss at a Sonic, which is weird. Like, why are you peeing outside, bro? There's a bathroom inside where you can just go inside and pee. You know, like somebody's kid might see you. Like, that's just weird. But then the guy, the Sonic employee, comes out and then confronts him about it. So it gets physical, and the little kid's first instinct is to go in the truck and grab a gun and shoot the guy. Like, bro, come on, bro. This is crazy. This world is crazy.
11. If you're at your house at night and someone breaks in, you should turn off all your lights because you know your way around the house better than they do. Most serial killers are born in November. TikTok has a secret emoji. Type scream with the bars around it on your keyboard to see what you unlock. Your belly button has an ecosystem living inside of it. There are at least 2,300 distinct, different species of bacteria living in there. Like it or not, but your bones are wet. You can see who blocked you on TikTok by clicking share, sliding to the very end, click more, and then click blocked. If nothing pops up, that means no one has blocked you yet. Statistically speaking, at least one person who comments on this video will sadly not be alive tomorrow. Gordon Ramsay's father was a violent alcoholic. He would abuse him and his mother constantly. He would always call Gordon the G word, you know, for boys that liked boys. All because Gordon enjoyed cooking. He was so aggressive at times that Gordon and his mom would hide in the house fearing for
the G word? You mean gay? Is that a bad word now? Like, what? Nah, that's crazy.
Lives. A human peach can stretch up to 7 inches without tearing, and a raccoon can fit into places as tight as 4 inches, meaning you could almost fit 2 full-size raccoons up your peach. If you like and follow me, you can learn something new every day.
What is that, bro?
A tragic accident in Malibu, California resulted in the deaths of 4 college seniors who were struck by a speeding BMW on Pacific Coast Highway. The driver, 22-year-old Fraser Michael Boehm, was arrested on suspicion of vehicular manslaughter with gross negligence and later released on $50,000 bail. The victims, Neam Rolston, Peyton Stewart, Asha Weir, and Deslin Williams, were all seniors at Pepperdine University. They were walking near parked cars when Boehm lost control of his vehicle, causing a collision that tragically claimed their lives. Witnesses reported that Boehm attempted to flee, but was apprehended by students from a nearby fraternity. Boehm, a former high school baseball player, hails from a wealthy family residing in a Malibu mansion overlooking the Pacific Coast Highway, near the accident site. Pepperdine University has mourned the loss of the 4 students and will hold a prayer service in their memory. Friends and loved ones paid heartfelt tributes, highlighting the victims' vibrant personalities and unique qualities. The crash is still under investigation, with officials indicating that speed likely played a role in this tragic event.
Oh my God, one of the biggest true crime mysteries of my generation is about to be solved. Like, officially. Jordan Vandersloot is finally going to plead guilty to Natalee Holloway's death and reveal details about her murder after 18 years. We've always known that it was Jason Vandersloot that murdered her. In 2005, after graduation, she went on a senior class trip to the Caribbean, and she was last seen leaving a bar with this man and then never appeared again. While they've never been able to confirm his involvement in her death, it has always been suspected that his father and 2 of his friends helped him bury the body. His father worked in construction and had a lot of places they could hide it. In 2010, he was convicted of murdering a girl in Peru, where he's been serving out a jail sentence ever since. But in 2010, he was found guilty on federal charges here for trying to extort Natalee Holloway's mother and bribe him in order to reveal the location of her daughter's body. After being found guilty on extortion charges here, he went back to Peru. But apparently over the summer, he was so severely beaten in a Peru prison that in exchange for being extradited to an American prison, he was willing to plead guilty for her murder. I was in high school in 2005 when this happened, and there are no words to describe how big this case was. I mean, this was John Benet Ramsey level of mystery. And I have to know how it happened, what he did. I have to know the story. I have to know. And I'm curious if he's going to implicate those other people or not.
This is one.
Yeah, I never heard of that one. Y'all in the comments some of y'all might have heard of it. She said she was in high school or something like that in 2005. That makes sense. Makes sense why I didn't hear about it. But y'all let me know what y'all think of that one. I have no idea.
Man One Ice Pick, one of the most messed up and sickening videos on the internet, explained. The video that I'm about to explain is 11 minutes long, and I beg you to never look it up. On the left is Luca Magnotta, and on the right is Jung Lin. As the video begins, Jung Lin, the victim, is seen naked and tied to a bed with a blindfold on, while the killer Luca Magnotta is standing over him. The song True Faith by New Order is playing, and this video completely ruined the song for me. The video then jump cuts to Jung Lin lying motionless on the bed, and a bedsheet is placed over his head. Luca then enters the camera holding an ice pick and begins stabbing the victim repeatedly in the chest and stomach for over 1 minute straight. Luca then grabs the camera and holds it as a POV shot and shows all the stab wounds around the victim's body. There's no blood at all, which somewhat feels more unsettling, and this is because the victim's throat was slit off camera. We know this because Luca lifts the bedsheet from the victim's head. Still shooting in a POV style, Luca takes a kitchen knife and begins slicing into the victim's flesh on his right thigh and right arm. Luca then focuses the camera on Jung Lin's body, showing the full extent and brutality of the situation. The video then jump cuts again and shows the victim's head, which at this point has been severed. Luca places the head in a black box and plays with the severed head's hair for a couple seconds. Once again, the video jump cuts and Luca has the camera in one hand and the knife in the other. He starts to cut off one of the victim's arms at the shoulder, beginning the process of dismembering the victim's limbs. Luca cuts into the flesh for a while until the arm is half dismembered. He then drags the knife along the victim's back, causing severely deep slashes. Another jump cut happens, and at this point we see both of the victim's arms have been completely dismembered. Luca then picks up one of the severed arms and begins using the hand to pleasure himself. This is absolutely sick. At this point we get another jump cut and the victim's right leg is completely...
He said this is absolutely sick. Like, cutting somebody's head off and cutting their arms off isn't sick, bruh.
completely dismembered. and the left leg has been half dismembered. A close-up is then shown of the victim's stump, and you see his femur bone surrounded by flesh. The body is then turned over on its side, lying on its stomach. Luca then starts humping Jung Lin's body. Again, another jump cut happens, and it shows Luca cutting off a piece of the victim's butt with a fork and knife. It's not shown on camera, but he 100% eats it. Luca then takes a small puppy who I assume has been starved and places it next to Jung Lin's body, and it then begins eating his right leg stump. Finally, the video jump cuts again, showing Luca pleasuring himself with one of the victim's severed arms, and the video then concludes. This whole video and case is absolutely sickening, and it's a very hard one to wrap your head around. There's also a Netflix documentary called Don't F With Cats that explains this whole case. I beg you to never go searching for this video because you will regret it.
How do you know about this video, my guy? Did you watch it, bruh? What is wrong with you? Why are you watching these crazy, weird videos, bruh? Somebody might have to go check up on this guy. Ugh.
They're now saying they have pulled 189 bodies out of the Return to Nature funeral home in Penrose, Colorado. Before, the number was around 115, but that's obviously risen to 189. And
Simple
they are
math, yeah.
saying that this number could go up as they continue to investigate. That makes me wonder if they think that there could be more remains elsewhere, or maybe at the second location in Colorado Springs.
Investigation grows in the discovery of decomposing bodies at a funeral home. The number of bodies found at the Return to Nature funeral home has now risen from 115 to 189. Teams removed at least that many bodies and moved them to the El Paso County Coroner's Office. Now, this happened in Penrose, near Colorado Springs. The Fremont County Sheriff says the number of bodies could change as the investigation continues. We'll bring you more details on this breaking story tonight.
I still haven't heard anything about these two, the owners of the funeral home, if they have been arrested or if they will be arrested. It's been pretty radio silent since this has all happened.
Can somebody let me, like, I'm not hip. I don't understand. With 189 bodies found in a funeral home, what the hell? What is that about? Decomposing bodies, apparently? Like, were they, like, doing some shady stuff? Like, what's going on? That's kind of weird.
Come into this guy's house, and they're going to attempt to rob the homeowners. But the man in the house was not going to let that happen, so he ends up fighting with all three robbers. He starts fighting with one of them, and then the second one comes in, and then the third one, and he's fighting them all off to where they're retreating outside of the house.
Shout out to him.
The homeowner then runs back into the kitchen to grab a knife, and you can see one of the robbers head back in. But then once he sees the homeowner with the knife, they all run out, leaving.
Idiot.
And I commend the homeowner for standing his ground.
He should have stabbed him. I would have stabbed him anyways. Chased him down with a knife. The hell is this?
This is the entire cast for the live-action Lilo and Stitch movie coming to Disney+. Playing Lilo, we have newcomer Maya Kealoha, and I mean, this is a slam dunk. Chris Sanders returns to voice Stitch. There really can't be any other Stitch. Oh, hi. See what I mean? Sydney Agudong is going to be playing Nani. Completely. Like and follow for more.
In the video is a bit long, and the teacher got brutally murdered on camera. The video that I'm about to explain to you is about a minute long and apparently was released in 2020. There's little to no backstory about this video, but it is believed that the victim in the video is a school teacher, and the murder was most likely committed because of ethnic hatred or extreme politics. As the video begins, you see a woman wearing a pink shirt and a green dress, and is blindfolded kneeling on the floor with her hands tied behind her back. The video is shot at night in some secluded area, and you hear crickets chirping, which makes this even more eerie. Three men carrying knives then surround the woman, and the one man pulls her head back by her hair as they all press her.
Cause being tied up with a crazy gang member while you're blindfolded with a knife to your neck isn't eerie enough. The crickets, oh my god, bro. The crickets really make it creepy.
Aggressively, she begins to whimper and beg for her life. But the man behind her who is grabbing her hair then places a small knife under her neck and begins to cut back and forth. The poor victim struggles before letting out an ear-piercing scream which literally echoes through the night. She tries to tuck her chin down to her chest to protect her throat, but another man then begins stabbing her in the stomach with a knife, and again the victim lets out an echoing scream as she rolls over trying to protect herself. But the men overpower her and roll her back over as the one man continues cutting her throat, as the other is disturbingly stabbing her stomach and chest. The poor victim continuously screams until the man cutting her throat cuts deep enough to sever her vocal cords. The screams then suddenly stop, but she is still moving and struggling. And after some more stabbing, she stops moving. Two other men then enter the screen, and the man who is stabbing her then places the tip of the blade into her chest, lining it up perfectly with her heart. He then takes his palm and begins hammering the knife into the victim's heart. He then hands the knife to another man who does the same exact thing, all while the other man is still slicing her throat. And at this point we could assume that the poor victim is indeed dead, and the video then concludes. I recommend nobody go searching for this video ever, because it seriously is one of the most disturbing things I've ever watched. I really hope these killers get what they deserve, because this is absolutely sickening.
Ugh. I don't know about y'all, but I just like low-key imagine that in my head. That's poor lady, man. See, this is why, like I say all the time, we are really blessed to be in this country. Even though there's crazy people shooting up bowling alleys and shit, we still got the right to bear arms. And for the most part, we're really safe, bro. Like, you don't have cartel members scooping up teachers and then making videos of them slicing their throat and shit. Like, this stuff is really wicked, bro.
I feel so awful for this poor girl, and may she rest in peace.
Alicia Bell was just 18 years old when she left her mum's house to go to her relatives in Ohio. It was the 23rd of July, 2015. However, shortly after leaving the house, Alicia sent her mum a frantic text message. It said, "Mum, if I make it home, I need you, I'm scared." Understandably panicked, her mum then desperately tried to call her daughter. She called over and over, but worryingly the calls kept going to voicemail. Alicia never arrived at her relative's house and was never seen alive again. Alicia was reported missing, and police got to work trying to figure out what had happened. However, initially they had no luck. That was until August, when they raided the home of 40-year-old James Brooks. Initially this was unrelated. They were actually raiding his home to try and find substances. It was at this point that they found a lot more than they bargained for. Horrifically, James had human remains in his garden in the burn pit. Police were suspicious that this may be the missing teenager. James actually knew her family, and incorrectly they thought he was harmless. He was arrested and charged with abuse of a corpse amongst many other unrelated charges. Forensics tragically confirmed the remains were that of Alicia. In May 2016, James was facing numerous charges relating to manslaughter, trafficking, abduction, and substance charges. Prosecutors believed that James was trafficking multiple girls, including Alicia, but the trafficking charges were for some reason dropped.
I just wonder, somebody let me know in the comments if you know, why is it that sometimes when people go to like court and shit, sometimes they have orange, sometimes they have green, but what is with the black and white stripes? Like, what does that mean? I'm just not hip. I don't know. Somebody who's smarter than me, please let me know.
He eventually pleaded guilty to all charges relating to Alicia's death. He was given 30 years in prison.
That's it?
James is interestingly a person of interest in the disappearance of another missing girl. This is a girl from the same area called Jasmine Smith. She actually went missing a month before Alicia. Let me know if you'd like me to cover Jasmine's disappearance.
30? 30? Nah, 30's crazy, bro. He'll probably be out in like, he'll probably get parole in like, what, 20? So you mean to tell me he's still gonna be able to get out of jail alive when that little girl got murdered and cut up into pieces in his backyard, bro? You give him 30 years? What in the fuck? Nah, that's crazy. What are you doing, bro? Go home. Ah, hell no. Ah.
ever wondered where the term see something, say something came into play? A member of the Gruber family noticed footsteps in the snow leading to the family barn, but there was no exit trail. 6 months prior to this situation, the family maid actually quit after hearing several noises in the attic and believed the house was haunted. On the evening of March 31st, 1922 in Bavaria, Germany, the mother and father, Andreas and Azalea, and their daughter Victoria, and her daughter, who is also named after the grandmother Azalea, all walked into a barn one by one. As they entered the barn, the perpetrator hit and unalived all 4 of them with a mattock, which is basically a tool that looks like a pickaxe. He or she then stacked all 4 of the bodies in the barn and moved to the family home. There, they unalived the now new maid and the 2-year-old son of Victoria. It has almost been 101 years later. It is actually one of Germany's oldest cold cases in history.
The Funky Town Killers might have another video, and I'm about to explain it. The video begins in a well-lit white room with white tiles on the floor. The tiles look extremely identical to the ones in Funky Town. In the opening seconds of the video, one of the killers is holding up a still beating heart to the camera, and while this is happening, you can hear the cameraman laughing hysterically. And you then realize there are multiple cartel members in the room and there are 2 dead guys lying on the ground. After the opening seconds, the camera goes to one of the victims' corpses on the ground, and since there are 2 dead victims with their hearts ripped out of their bodies, there is literally blood everywhere. The camera then stays on one of the victims' bodies, and one of the cartel members then starts to behead him. And once the beheading was completed, the cartel members began to play soccer with the victim's head. The cameraman gets involved and they all begin kicking the head around, having fun. They are laughing, cracking jokes, and it's absolutely sickening. Every time the head is kicked around, you see the blood trail it leaves behind on the white tile floor. After this, they then pose with the head and hold it up to the camera.
Oh my god, bruh. I actually saw this video. Nah, this video, I thought it was fake, bruh. Like, it's actually crazy. And it's crazy because the head literally rolls around like a ball. That's why I thought it was fake. Nah, these don't go to Mexico, bruh. If you do, you gotta spend you some money. Stay away from the projects, bruh. It's a crazy, crazy, crazy world we live in.
The camera then pans to the other victim's body on the floor, and you can see another cartel member dismembering the victim's arm. You see him slicing away with a knife. The camera then goes back to the other victim's body, and you can see that they removed one of his arms. And at this point, one of the cartel members gets down on his knees and begins having an arm wrestle with the severed arm of the victim, just laughing. It's absolutely horrible and disturbing, and the video then concludes. Now, the video doesn't show the killings, but it's safe to assume they were carried out shortly before the video was recorded, since at the beginning of the video there was a beating heart. Now, not only is the brutal nature of the video terrifying, but also the setting of it. The setting looks exactly like the setting of the infamous video Funky Town. And many people who saw both videos are convinced it's the same room Funky Town was done in.
Funky Town?
But nothing at this point is 100% confirmed. But assuming from the gruesome nature of the video and the white tiles, I do believe this was the same room Funky Town was done in. This video is extremely disturbing, and the cartel members laughing, having a good time, while kicking the victim's head around is just something you don't want to see.
I mean, obviously, who wants to see that, but... Bro, what? What is Funky Town? Somebody let me know. I have no idea. I have no idea what that is. Funky Town.
Welcome back to our YouTube channel. After day 3 after murdering somebody. Wow! Don't put that on the camera. It was worth it. And we had sex a lot.
The full video and transcript of the video that I just showed you is incredibly disturbing. Yes, you heard what they said correctly. This 18-year-old named Aaron Guerrero said murdering somebody was worth it. But who did this teenage couple just murder together? Well, it was none other than 16-year-old Sierra Halseth's father, Daniel Halseth. So at the time, Sierra was living with her father, Daniel. Daniel seemed like your everyday father. He prioritized fitness, he posted frequently on social media, and his posts frequently involved his family, including his 16-year-old daughter Sierra. Now, before the murder happened, Sierra's parents, Daniel and Elizabeth, had gone through a bitter divorce. In October of 2011, Daniel was assaulted for open and gross lewdness after his wife said he assaulted her. Then there were allegations that Elizabeth had been cheating on Daniel, and obviously they just had a terrible marriage. But at some point along the way, 16-year-old Sierra crossed paths with 18-year-old Aaron Guerrero, and the young couple quickly fell in love. So at some point, Sierra told Aaron that her father, Daniel, was abusive towards her, both physically and sexually. And according to the two of them, they felt like the only way to make this right was to murder Sierra's blood father. So in April of 2021, the two came up with a plan. I should also add in here that Aaron and Sierra had dated in 2020 before both of their parents had separated them and said they were bad for each other. They had also learned that the two were planning on running off to Los Angeles together, and since Sierra was only 16 at the time, obviously her dad said no. So the day before Daniel's body was found, Aaron ran away from home and disappeared. And the two teenagers then purchased a circular saw, saw blades, bleach, lighter fluid, disposable gloves, and a drop cloth from a local hardware store. Now, Aaron claims that he carried out this murder because he was on LSD at the time of the murder, but I've never seen that actually proven. So on that day in April of 2021, Sierra and Aaron entered the Halseth home. They then stabbed Daniel Halseth 70 times. They cut his body up, they set fire to it, and they attempted to burn down his house. And at one point shortly afterwards, a woman named Peggy and her friend entered Daniel's home and noticed that his front door was open. They then smelled smoke and noticed a large burned patch on the living room floor. Afterwards, they entered the garage and noticed the smell of lighter fluid. They also saw a sleeping bag on the floor, and when they opened up the sleeping bag, they saw the charred and mutilated remains of Daniel Halseth. So Sierra and Aaron then stole Daniel's car and went on the run, and they were eventually arrested in Salt Lake City, Utah, just a few days after killing Sierra's dad. And it was 3 days after the murder when they made that disturbing video where they giggle and laugh about murdering Daniel. So eventually, after a lengthy trial and all these details became public, Sierra and Aaron were sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 22 years. So they are in prison now, and I think that video remains one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen. The complete lack of empathy.
Yeah, obviously. Bruh. Possibility of parole after 22 years? Nah, that's crazy. That means they can get out when they're like 30, 35. And they get parole and come back out into the real world. That's crazy, bro. Bro, she literally murdered her own dad, bro. And he stabbed the guy 70 times. And these people, I don't care how old. I don't care if she's 16. She knew what the fuck she was doing. He knew what he was doing. He's 18, bro. Lock him up and throw the key away, bro. Simple as that. I don't understand this. Y'all let me know why. Why do they give these people parole, bro? It's crazy. The crazy world we live in. Y'all be safe. I hope y'all tune into the next one. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that shit. And I'm out. Peace.